Hello, world. This is America's Supermom, and this is a special edition that I call the Corona Chronicles. During this time, we are suffering from a pandemic that is affecting everyone across the world. We are joined with the rules and regulations of being shelter in place, which means we are limited with the ability to go about our daily business, confined to our homes based on a coronavirus that has been sweeping the entire world. For some people, the effects could be mild. For others, it can be fatal. So we are coming together as a community, as a family during this time of difficulty to share what it is like in our part of the world, how we are affected, and the things that we have in common, what kind of problems that are taking place in our industries and in our relationships and finances, and coming together so that we can plan for a better tomorrow. As this epidemic or pandemic crosses the world, we are waiting for relief. We're waiting for the virus to die off and for us to go back to some state of normalcy, whatever that may be, after things kind of settle down. So what is that going to look like once the dust settles? How are things going to be different? So as we go through this process, we're coming together as a world to create ideas, strategies, connect in ways that we have never connected before. So that is the purpose of the special podcast that I call the Corona Chronicles, so that we can get some insight and have empathy and compassion on one another, create new innovative ideas that can not only improve our life, but our fellow brothers and sisters across the world. Thank you so much for joining us. And Veronica, I want to take the time to thank you for joining me today. This mission is very important to me to be able to give everybody an opportunity to come together as a community, so to speak, across the world in dealing with this pandemic that we're going through, and just to be able to just kind of support one another. So I want to thank you guys for your time and being able to come today, and want to give you guys the floor a little bit to introduce yourselves and let us know a little bit about you.
Well, I'll start since it's the two of us.
Okay.
My name is Aaron Garcia, and I'm here with my wife, Veronica Mendez Garcia. And what we do is we help people who struggle mentally, emotionally, or maybe they feel stuck in their life and having a hard time moving forward, or not knowing how to deal with some of the everyday challenges that we go through. And we help them to let go of issues that have they've been holding on to the past, old hurts, old angers, because those types of energies, those types of experiences, they stay with us, and that can actually start to create self-sabotaging behaviors and begin to also attract things that we start to see in our life. So when people are unsatisfied or they don't know why they can't move forward with things, they will usually come to us because they're frustrated. And we just have a very intuitive ability, my wife Veronica, to be able to identify what's stopping them and help them change their patterns. And it's interesting because a lot of times what they think that might be the issue really isn't the issue. It's something even deeper than that. And that's what we help to uproot.
Yes.
I love that.
So my name, well, like Aaron mentioned, I'm Veronica Mendez Garcia. And I started doing the emotional energy work when Aaron and I met, but prior to that, I was trained as a Reiki master, and that's when I found out I had this ability to feel people's pain, like whatever pain was going on in their body, I would feel it in my body. So it's some people call that being an empath. And so I could direct my focus energy, to that area that needed, I would say, like more healing. And when Aaron and I started working together, I would feel their emotions coming up. And a lot of times, like emotional pain would get stuck in their body somewhere, or that's how it was showing up for them in their body. So if they had a pain with the shoulder but didn't do anything, I felt that it was like the emotion was stuck there. And so we would address the issue that way.
It's always very interesting
So let's
when that
just
happens.
stop here for a minute, because people are like, okay, now what does she mean by what does she, yeah, how do you feel their pain? Because it's like, are people just, you meet them for the first time and you kind of have this sense, or is it you're in a relationship with them where they're coming to you for help and you have a consultation? How are you able to
it's
know about the pain?
because I'm in tune with how I feel in my body. So if there's no pain with me prior to seeing them, or even doing like a Zoom meeting, all of a sudden I'll start getting a pain somewhere in my body, and I know it's not mine. It's like an intuitive knowing. And then so we'll ask, like, is there something going on in this area of or this part of your body? And they're like, yeah, I've been getting this pain here for a couple months or whatever it is. And sometimes they forget that they have issues in the body. Like one time I was working on someone, and I said, I know this is kind of weird, but is there anything going on with your big toe? Because I'm getting like this pain on it. And they're like, no. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute. 3 days ago, I stubbed my toe and it's like black and blue right now, but I forgot about it. So it's things like that. It's very interesting how it happens.
That is now. So when they have specific, is it the pain associated with certain body areas? So if you have something in your shoulder, does that mean like stress or
well, a lot of times our body will indicate what's going on with us emotionally, even though it appears as a physical issue. The underlying issue might be emotional. Yeah, and so there's a correlation with, with that.
Yeah, and this is where, how Veronica and I started working together was I was trained as a chiropractor, and so that's why when I was working with my patients, Veronica, I was working with them and doing all my testing, and Veronica would be able to, she was just taking notes and just kind of hanging out, and she would start to feel everybody what's going on. She's like, check over here, and I would go and search for that, and sure enough, there it was, and that was what was kind of where I was almost going to, or I completely missed, and she knew exactly where I needed to go with that person. And in my training, I understood that the mental, emotional side was a big part of our healing. And I'd been trained in different modalities to help deal with that side. And so I would do a lot of physical testing with people, doing things like muscle testing and asking questions. And when I would even start to get to the emotional points and really start digging into what's going on in their life, it's almost like Veronica would start to tear up prior to them even knowing what was going on. And like within like a minute later, it's almost like kind of like there was like a lag time for them to feel it. Veronica picked it up much faster, like when you're on the internet and there's like a little delay. Veronica would feel it before they would. And that was started to let me know that I was getting warmer. I was on the right track. And then we would explore that. And there it was, something that was showing up in their life today as a physical issue. Maybe because they were getting triggered by something at home or in their work. Maybe they were stressed out about finances or having problems in their relationships. And their body was responding to what they were holding on to. And this has been even our personal experiences. I know we've all had it when we don't feel very well or upset with something. So we might feel sick. We start to feel aches or pains. And what's interesting is that what we feel on the inside and what we think about most of the time is what we start to attract into our life. And our body is just the emotional filter. And so if we don't find a way to express what we're feeling or let go and we hold on to it, the body's it's going to manifest in the body in some way.
And that's why, like right now, especially with everything that's going on around the world, it's so important for us to to stay positive and not get caught up into all the negativity, because if we're worried and fearful, that's going to lower our immune system. And that's the last thing you want to do. So that's why staying positive and listening to things that are more uplifting and positive, will help you so much, because the moment you're watching something and now you're feeling bad, that's a sign you need to change the channel.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Now, so let's go back, because you guys are husband and wife, right? And you're working together. So that dynamic, we are like close quarters, a lot of us, with our spouses, and this is something new. So for husband and wives that are close together, you're now coworkers. You may not be in the same industry or whatever, but you're both digital, or virtual with your job. So what advice would you give them, to make this kind of transition where you are working together, and your life is not just
I think for us,
life,
the biggest thing is having open communication, because there's a lot of people that they don't communicate effectively, and there's a lot of guessing going on. So if there's something that bothers a person and they don't say anything and they assume that the other person knows what's going on, that's where things get miscommunicated and issues could start to arise because of that. So, and a majority of problems, I would say, happen because of miscommunication. And there's, people are assuming or creating this whole story in their mind where if they were to just ask, like, hey, I'm feeling this, or you said this, and like, why did you say that? Or what did you mean by that? Versus creating a complete different story in their head.
And we can get very imaginative about what's going on with that other person meant with something. And so we can create like this huge drama story. And then when we actually, we ask them what's been going on here. Like, I wasn't thinking about that at all. It was like, we just create this whole big drama, and we build up this emotional like chaos inside of us until we understand what's really going on. We figure out truth of things, and it's like, all that emotion just goes away, because it gives us that peace of mind. And that's one of the challenges even today, is that there's so much uncertainty and unknown of what's going to happen from day to day, and people's schedules are changing. There's a lot of change of habits. We get so used to doing the same routine day in and day out. And it's not just one person, but it's everybody's being shaken up of things got to be different now. And it takes a lot of mental energy to change the way we do things. And that we can go kicking and screaming sometimes until we acclimate. And I think the beautiful part with Veronica and I is we've been doing this for so long now. We love our relationship that, we spend almost every day together. I think that's a strong point that we have, is we don't get on each other's nerves. And because we've learned to work through that. And a lot of times we had transitioned from doing all the physical work on people to really transitioning to help them in their lives to understand how to work with their emotions, how to change that energy into something more positive. So you get a couples together that come from completely different backgrounds and experiences in their life. And whatever we've gone through since the time we were conceived up until today, all of those experiences that we've ever had, from hurts to, money issues to there's been abuse and all kinds of things, teasing, bullying, we bring that into our reality today if we haven't dealt with it. And so what can happen is other people might do something that triggers something within you that you're at a deeper level, unconsciously or subconsciously, it associates something from a past, which starts to bring up emotion. And it might say, someone says a certain word or does something, and it reminds you of an experience that wasn't very pleasant to you. Then it's going to stir up all these feelings within you. And you might be wondering, like that really irritates me. That really bothers me when people do this. But they don't always know why it bothers them. And if you ask them the right questions, and that's how we test and we go back, is, it's because when I was like 5, so-and-so used to do this to me or say this, and I really hated it. And they can think about it, and almost instantly they can start creating the feeling all over again. And that's where we want them to process, because they're still holding on to those experiences.
Mm.
And so, yeah. And so that's why Veronica and I, is even early in our relationship, we find that
That is so
we would
true.
get triggered by each other. And I could say like, oh, it's something wrong with her. She's something wrong with me. It's like, no, it's just we're the representation of something that still needs to be healed within us.
And because we both started working on like personal development on ourselves at an emotional level prior to meeting each other. So we had cleared a bunch of stuff already, but there's always layers and layers to work through. So we understood and we understand the work and how people can trigger each other. So, we work on it, and it's not like we wait weeks and weeks before having a conversation about it. It's like, okay, there's something here. I want to clear this now. I don't want to wait a month or 2 months down the road.
Right. Absolutely. Now, so for somebody who, we have a lot of people that their industries are being disrupted, their household routines are being disrupted. So it's like a whole bunch of disruptions at one time, major things, like you said, their daily routine. They're used to, driving back and forth to work or interacting with certain people. So what advice would you give them in order to begin to kind of manage this in a way that really is realistic? Because a lot of times what we try to do is have unrealistic expectations on what it is that we want to achieve.
Well, the first thing is learning to adapt to change. And I think there's a lot of people that they don't like change. And so when a big change, especially like this, occurs, it really affects them emotionally. So the first thing is, you have to breathe and relax your emotional state. So take a step back and just take that breath and allow yourself to feel the emotions. If there's fear or if there's anything going on, just allow yourself to feel that for a minute and breathe and keep breathing. And then ask yourself, why do I feel fear? Why do I feel anger or whatever emotion is coming up? And process that emotion. Allow it to go and then once, you can't stay in that same emotional state forever. So it will dissipate. But then it's like, okay. And then when you're not as emotional, now you can come up with solutions to, whatever's going on. Because when you're emotional, you can't think of solutions, and the things that you might react to might not be the right thing for you versus responding. Because when you relax those emotions, now you can think better and you can come up with solutions that, that will benefit you. You're not just like reacting to something. So you're able to think better, think more clear and more focused on, okay, what's the best thing for me to do right now in this moment?
Yeah. And then, I'll just piggyback on that is, what we have learned to do as a practice is, because our work is, what do we do when we're in a highly emotional state? And that's where we really shine with people, is when they come to us when they're in a really bad spot and they just don't know how to get out of it. And our first goal is to get them to calm down. And so when they are able to think and get to that point, okay, let's start, maybe they need to brainstorm something out on paper. Here's the situation that's in front of me. And the one thing that's going on right now is like what we put our attention to, when we focus on, we're going to see more of that. So the biggest thing is when we're more relaxed is, okay, let's stop looking at and try to focus on the problem. So a lot of people right now are probably thinking, I'm out of a job. How am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to support my family? All these things that are going through people's concerns right now, where rather than thinking about the money not being there or the not being able to pay the house, or going to lose the house, or whatever that might be, is okay. We're faced with this situation. it's not going to do us any good by focusing on what ifs, the problems. So the first things we'll overcome is what is the good out of this? And Veronica and I do this all the time, is there's always something good in every situation. But we have to be able to shift our focus on what we're looking at and try to find the good in every situation. So as an example, right now people are stuck at home. Majority. There's some people that are still working, which is a good sign. It's like there's still a lot of jobs being even created right now. So that's a positive. So even though there are people losing jobs, there's a lot of jobs that are being created because of this. It's just in different industries. So for those that might be out of work, there's a lot of job openings that are coming up, and people are short staffed. So this might give people the opportunity to get out of a career or a job that they're probably unhappy with in the first place, and start something new that they've always wanted to do. So I could say, maybe there's a better position or a better job for me to look at right now. Or maybe this is a time that I started that career, that business that I've always wanted to do. It's like I have nothing else to do, but this is a time for me to do that. So there's always opportunity in these types of situations. We just have to look for it, but we cannot do that in a highly emotional state.
And also the good thing about all this that's happening is that I see a lot of businesses changing the way they're doing business, and it's actually expanding their reach. So, for example, my daughter goes to a language class that she goes in person, not anymore, but she was going in person, and it was only for local, residents or people who lived in the area can attend. But now because of this, they're able to do it online. So this allows that company to have a greater reach of people, of students coming in, where before it was only local people. So that's something that it was a change that was pretty much forced upon them, but it was a good thing because it's changing the way they do business and broadening their reach.
Yeah. And when we think about that, it starts to give people a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of hope.
So true.
And it's fascinating because there's so many opportunities. I mean, we looked at it as, okay, what's the opportunity in this for us? Rather than being scared, it's like, there's got to be some opportunity in here for us. And there has been. In fact, we had scheduled a live event here in San Diego. That's supposed to be this Saturday on the 4th. And we had a venue plan for that. And we were going to keep pushing it. And then, but every single day, like the restrictions here in California became more strict. It went from like no gatherings more than 250, and now it became no more than 10. And now it's like everybody stay at home. So we said, okay, rather than like really getting frantic about it, was okay. We just said that's what it is. So we said, okay, well, we are very skilled in doing things online. So we said, let's just bring everybody online. And we reached out to everybody. Hey, you guys want to come here? Everybody said yes. In fact, we now have more people attending this event now than there would have been had we been doing the live, because we can reach out more people that maybe couldn't travel down here to San Diego. They wanted to, but it's like, well, I just don't have the means to travel right now. But now they can do it from in their own home. Parents that have their families or kids that they don't want to travel, they can now be at home with their kids and still be a part of what we're sharing with them.
Yeah.
So this is a great opportunity even for us. And we just have to be able to expand our vision and not look at things in one way, that there's so many different ways that we can do things. And this world is so abundant. That's what's beautiful. And this has given people the opportunity to see that.
And people are getting so creative. Yeah.
I love them. Oh, yeah. I love that. Now, so for those of us that are listening, that are in this place to where, all this sounds good, but this is some people who have never really practiced, a lot of these ideas, so what would you recommend they start doing? Just something practical when it comes to, because a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, I've been there on both sides. I love the growth mindset better, but, when you're fixed, it's like, you just are stuck there and it's hard to get out. So for somebody who is, exploring an opportunity, what are maybe some practices that they can begin with that they can do?
Here's one tool that helped me,
so to speak.
And I think a lot of it too is probably, again, as we mentioned before, first step is we got to get out of the emotional state. That they're starting to be creative in a state of fear, it doesn't really help very much. And we can only think so far. So like start with what we have. One, in fact, we got shooken up about a few years ago where I mentioned I had a chiropractic office, and at that time, business wasn't doing that well for us. It was slowing down. It's funny because I had this mantra that was in my head that I never wanted to be stuck in an office all day long.
You would say that all the time.
And so I started to attract things that happened, and eventually, it's like situations happened that said we need to leave the office. And in that moment was very shook me up a little, because it was the way it happened worked out perfectly, but it was a moment where, oh God, we got to do something different now. It changed my routine, and so I had my little bit of a moment, maybe a couple of days. Sometimes it could be a week. Everybody has their different processes, but for me, it was okay. What am I going to do now? So we would sit there and we would meditate, because we know every time that we would meditate, we would turn off the outside world and just be with ourselves and be in that peace and calm. And sometimes the ideas would just come, or I would just journal. And there was an equation that I remember. It was taught to us in a book called 3 Feet from Gold. And it was written by Greg S. Reed and Sharon Lecter, good friends of ours. And Sharon always talks about the success equation. And I'm going to mention just like the first part of that, which is it's like a mathematical equation. It says like P plus T, where they're saying it's your passion plus your talent. And so on one side of a page, you would say, okay, here's all the things that I'm passionate about. And you just write a list of those. Here's what I love doing. Here's the things that I enjoy. It's like, do I enjoy talking to people? Do I enjoy helping others? Do I enjoy giving back? Whatever that might be. Am I passionate about speaking? Put them all down on a list. What do you love doing? What are you passionate about? And then on the other side, which is the T, which is your talents. Like, what are you good at? And it gives you a different perspective, because one of the examples I remember from that book, which helped me, was, let's say someone's passion is sports. And I think they use basketball as an example. And they just love sports. And they're like, oh, how can I turn something with sports into a business opportunity for me? And they might say, well, what are my talents? Well, maybe I'm like 5'5", and I'm 40 or in my 50s. Probably might not be the opportunity to be an NBA player, but there could be a possibility. But maybe they're not the top pick, but they still love basketball. And the other part was, okay, well, I'm good at speaking. I love talking. I love talking about sports. In fact, I was every time there was like a sports game on TV, I would be like the announcer, going through all the commentary. So now someone who has a passion with talking and they love basketball, so maybe there's an opportunity where they can make money being an announcer in that industry. So it's just being creative with it and finding, what are you passionate about? Just make a whole list, and then all your talents, all the things that you're good at. So for me, it was, I had a passion for helping people. I love personal development. I just love working on myself and seeing how people can transform on the inside. It's changed their lives. And I had all these different things. I was passionate about health and everything. And then on my other side was, I put my talent was good at emotional work, and I'm good at all these different things. And so I just took the top two and I put those together. And that's how Veronica and I created what we're doing today, is we just changed the way we do things with the talents and skills we already had. So right now is someone makes that list. What skills and talents do you have right now? And what resources do you have to be able to start something with that?
Yeah, and you have to start somewhere. So a lot of times people want to wait until they have this or that, but it's best to just start now with what you have and then slowly build up to it. Because if the longer you wait for things to be perfect, you might pass that opportunity.
I love that, because one of the things that I've learned, that's just like, I have a marketing background, and then I got into coaching based on my own struggles with depression and
Yeah.
being able to help others, was that you don't know a lot of the answers until you do it. So it's so crazy because it's like, oh, I'm going to wait and I'm going to have
Yeah.
this and this perfect thing. And as you're going through it, you're like, I really
Yeah.
don't need
I've been there so
that.
many
I don't
times,
really like
and
that. You
I
know what I
have to
mean?
still
It's
catch
like,
myself
it's
because I can get
nothing
caught
like
up
what
into
you
that
thought it
old
was going to look like.
mentality.
So
And
those
Veronica
are
checks
some,
me on that, which is funny. So we're a great team together because she'll sometimes bring me down, like when I'm not bring me down, but when I'm like floating and trying to go all these different places. Like, hey, hang on, come back down real quick. Let's start here.
Stay grounded.
Don't get caught up because it can be overwhelming at first. And so there's a key point to that
right,
part too, is when someone who's just starting out and it might get
right.
overwhelming. The biggest thing is be okay asking for help.
Mhm.
Reach out to other people that can help you, because sometimes other people can see greater things in you and see even bigger things than you can.
Right.
And I think this is where when we work with a lot of people and we find that there's a unconscious issue with asking for help. Like I'm being a burden to other people, or if I ask for help, that means I don't know anything. I look stupid or I look weak. And that's not, I found the opposite to be true. There's so many people that are willing to help you, and they just want help. Even people you might think they're really busy, like they want to help people and no one's asking them.
And it makes them feel good to know that you're asking them, because now they could be looked at as the expert, like, oh, this person came to me for help, like versus going to someone else.
And we all love helping people. That's part of our nature.
Oh yeah, so true. And we're going to go back really quickly to this piece about you having the vision and she's telling you to come back down, because this is so key for a lot of people. So you have the vision and that whole thing of coming back down. Explain that thought process. What is it that you're coming down to kind of bridge that gap for people that may feel they're in this space?
So I'll speak from my experience, because I feel
they're
this
above
often
and they got the vision and the other person is not quite there. So
the analogy would
that.
be, what are we in? We're going to be in April coming this week, and a child sees on TV the newest gaming system, the new toy, the hot thing that's right now, and they want it so badly. And they ask, I want to get this new toy, this new system. Well, you're probably gonna have to wait till Christmas. Ask Santa, do something. You're gonna have to wait till Christmas. And you're like, I don't want to wait till Christmas. I want it now. And they're constantly thinking about it, and they're focusing more of the bad feeling of not having it, rather than waiting, just being patient, allowing it to come when it comes. And so we have these big visions. We go so far. I want to do this. I can do this, but then it's like I want to do this, but then the finances aren't there. We can't invest or afford that. And we're thinking about all the things we will need or where we want to go, but we realize there's a first step we have to take, and that what you see in your vision might be a few months from now. It could be a couple of weeks, depending on where you're at. For us, sometimes that vision might be a couple of years, depending on how big your vision is. And so it's saying, okay, here's where I want to go. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know where the resources are going to come from. I don't know where the help is going to come from. I might have to learn some new skills, whatever that might be. It's a change of industry. It's like, what's the first step? What's the first thing that I could do today that would move me forward?
Yeah. And it's okay to have, that big vision of, not even knowing how you're going to get there. But the moment you start to focus on, okay, where's the money? I'm not there yet. Now the emotion that you're putting behind it is not the right emotion. And that's where people tend to get stuck and frustrated, and they give up on their dreams because of that. So they're not patient enough. So it's getting frustrated. And it's like, when you're creating something, that's your dream, why would you put the emotion of frustration or worry behind it?
Right. Well, and it also brings up too, in both of those illustrations while you were talking is, when you want something bad enough, you are the one that's doing most of the work to get it. Whereas if you have a big vision that you're patient and you recognize it's a lifelong journey, you have other people that are attracted to that vision. and they help
Mm-hmm.
you with that vision. So it could, I understand the whole thing about the right and wrong emotion. That's good to bring that up, because a lot of times, we do self-sabotage in a lot of ways by having
Yeah.
Yeah, and
those
the biggest
wrong
thing too is
emotions
as we're
when it
striving
comes
for that big
to
dream, big
pursuing those
vision,
visions
you
and
know,
dreams that we have for
that
ourselves.
also means too that
Great
we
point.
have to
That's really
change
good.
who we are, because it's at such a different vibration, a different frequency of who we are today. It's like, for me to be able to do this, I'm gonna have to learn more skills. I'm gonna have to be, maybe if someone's like in sales, I'm gonna have to learn how to sell and be more of a people person. If you're a very introverted, shy person, and so it's like there's gonna be a lot of skills that you're gonna have to learn to develop, just like going through school. But also, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that you're gonna have to work through. All your fears, you're gonna have to work through all your insecurities, and we can't go through those until we move forward to creating that vision. And this is why Veronica said people stop, because at some point we're gonna get faced with our stuff. We're gonna get faced with maybe fears of rejection. We're gonna get faced with our insecurities. We're gonna get faced with fear of uncertainty, and if we learn how to push through that and just keep going, knowing that this is just a bit of a storm we're going through right now, and eventually that storm cannot last forever. And if I just stick with it, I'm going to come out on the other side. So it's the goals that we always have, the visions, is not just for us to achieve or to get. What we've understood is the biggest part of all of that is the growth that's going to happen within us once we achieve it. Even if we fall short of our goal and our vision, we've still come a long way. We are not the same people that we were yesterday. We're not the same people we were a year ago, 10 years ago. We are always moving forward, and we're always growing. And that's what goals are really for.
Yeah.
They're for growth.
Yeah. And with all the challenges, that's when the growth happens. And it's really about enjoying the journey that takes us to that goal. And it's like embracing the challenges and growing through that. And it's really about the journey, really.
So we help and teach people how to get to their goal. But what we focus on is when they are faced with the challenges, when they don't know how to get past the challenge with their emotions, and when they kind of freak out. That's where we come in to identify, okay, why is this challenge showing up in your life right now? What is it that you have to still heal within you that you haven't dealt with yet? And we help them to deal with that so they can move forward. And then it's like playing a video game. Once you pass the first level, you get to go to the next level. And in that next level, there's going to be other sets of challenges. And then you beat that level, you go to the next. It never ends. But each time, it's like the first two levels are going to be easy now.
Absolutely.
So we always need to be challenged in some way. Otherwise, life would be too boring.
I love that. Now, so what, you guys are going to have a lot of people reaching out to you, I just already know, based on the type of work that you're dealing with. It really resonates with a lot of people that are being affected today. So, do you guys have any books
We do a Facebook Live show twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays. And in the near future, we will be moving that to YouTube as well.
Okay.
But for right now, it is the Facebook Live.
Yeah. So we share a lot of free content, our experiences and knowledge with people there. So we do that every week, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time. You can reach out to us on Facebook. Those, like, reach out to Veronica Mendez or Aaron Garcia. Our actual page on Facebook is at Aaron and Veronica, all spelled out. They want to find us, and people just reach out, and we do those shows each week, and we have people can get reminders and everything. And we'll bring on guests sometimes. We got a lot of great people that were lined up for the next coming weeks. We've got some great interviews, and it's a lot of fun for us.
And also, if they want to attend the event, the workshop that we're doing this coming Saturday,
this is April 4th.
Yeah, April 4th at 10 a.m. Pacific. They can also join that.
Yeah, and they depending on when this goes out, if they get into time, today's Monday, so they can reach out to at the Let Go Workshop. That's the name of the workshop, is Let Go. The Let Go Workshop .eventbrite.com. So letgoworkshop.eventbrite.com. They can register.
Oh.
All we ask for people, the cost is a donation of their choosing. We know some people
Mm-hmm.
are going through some struggles right now, so whatever they feel inclined to
Mm-hmm.
give, that's all we ask them to join. It's going to be through a Zoom call, so we can have face to face.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to share how we attract things into our life, kind of what we've been talking about today, but at a more deeper level.
And we're also going to do live
Mm.
clearings on a few people. Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good. That sounds amazing. Yeah. Well, you guys just got bumped up the list
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
releasing the
it's almost like it was the right
podcast because
opportunity
that's
for
some
us.
good information.
Yeah.
A lot of people can
Yeah.
really
Thank
use
you.
that today. So, thank you for sharing that information. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So good.
So
Yeah.
many closing
Well,
words.
any closing words you
I
want
say
to
right now
share?
is for everybody that's out there is, this is a time for us all to come together and reconnect again. And we've been talking about this quite a bit, that, this whole situation that's happening globally is here for a reason. And we believe that it's the world helping to wake us up to reconnect with each other again. We've been so disconnected for so long. We followed through our old routines, getting busy, and we tend to forget where we truly come from, what's most important into our lives. For people that are stuck at home with their families and getting frustrated because of the routines, this is your opportunity to be able to spend time with your family, reconnect, and regain those connections again.
And I also want to say a few closing words. This is from my journaling. It says, allow yourself to let go of false beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
negative thoughts and feelings, and step into your greatness. Design your life with the true knowing of your being.
Mm-hmm.
You create the world you live in. Make it great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Love that. That is awesome. Well, thank you guys both, and I'm so glad we were able to
Thank
meet this way. And I wish you guys a lot of luck with everything that you have coming down the pike, and anything that I could do to help
Thank you very
And we
much.
would
forward
love
it
to have
me
you
so I
as well
can
on
post
our
it on my
Facebook Live
site
show.
and share it with my audience. I would
Yeah.
be happy to help you guys with that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
We'll get that set up.
Oh, awesome! I consider it an honor. I would love to.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much
We
for
You
appreciate
having
guys
it.
have a
us.
wonderful
All
afternoon,
right.
and thanks
All
again
You as
right.
well.
You
for
too.
sharing your
Bye-bye.
Bye.
wise words of wisdom, okay? What a great interview with husband and wife, and just the fact that they were focused on recognizing what each other's strengths are is very commendable. I love the fact how they work together. They are able to stay in their zone of genius and work together in order to make an impact in the lives of others. If you guys are interested in attending their event, please take heed to reach out to them and look at their website or their Facebook group page so that you can get connected with them, because during this time we all may be struggling, having our ups and downs daily based on the uncertainty that we're experiencing. And I encourage you to get with groups of people that can help move forward and get past the mindset that we can often be in, which is fear and self doubt and limiting beliefs. So we want to thank Aaron and Veronica again for their time. If you are interested in being a guest on the podcast, please reach out to me, info@LachelleAtkins.com, or you can reach me through Facebook Messenger. I am happy to have as many guests as I can um, receive, because I think it's very important for us all to keep a dialogue going during these challenging times. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for listening.